Hello everyone, this is grade 5, module 6, lesson 11 homework. For number 1 it says, complete the tables for the given rule. So I have two tables that I have to fill in. Line L I'll do in red, and the rule is double x. So whatever x is, I have to double it or multiply by 2. So they're giving me 1 times 2 is 2. And then I'm going to write my coordinate, which goes x first, then y. For the next one, they give me 2, so 2 times 2 is 4, and then I can write those coordinates. Then the last one, 3 times 2 is 6. For line M, the rule is double x, so times x by 2, and then subtract 1. So I have to multiply it by 2 and then subtract 1. So for this, they give me 1. So 1 times 2 is 2, minus 1 is 1. 2 times 2 is 4, minus 1 is 3. 3 times 2 is 6, minus 1 is 5. And I can only guess what A says. Draw each line on the coordinate plane above. So I'm going to draw these, and I'm going to label them. So I'll put the points in. So I'll start with line L. So 1, 2, 1, comma 2. And then I have 2, comma 4. And then I have 3, comma 6. And I'm going to put that line in right now. So there's line L. And now I'm going to do the same thing for line M. So I have 1, 1, 2, 3, 3, 5. So I'll make a line connecting them right now. So there's line M, and I'll label that in blue. Now it says, compare and contrast these lines. Based on the patterns you see for C, predict what the line for the rule double x and then add 1 would look like. So when I compare and contrast these, I'm not going to write a whole lot down, but I'll show you kind of what my thought is for this. I'm looking at the x's, and I see that they're all the same, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. But what I'm noticing with the y is for L, it's 2, and for M, it's 1. The next one, I have 4, and this one I have 3. 6 and 5. So it's always 1 away in the y, with doubling minus 1. So I'm never going to touch. They're always going to be, it's going to be parallel, the two lines are, but for whatever I get in my y up here, I'm going to be 1 less than the y down here. So when I look at C and it says double x then add 1, this one is, M is double x subtract 1, and it's 1 below. I'm assuming if I double and then add 1, I'll be kind of up here, 1 above. So it's going to be parallel to it, but it's going to be kind of 1 up on it in the y department. So what I mean is, for my double plus 1, if I stick with the same x's, the 1, 2, and 3, my y's are going to be 1 over top of L in the y column. So if I double 1, I get 2 plus 1 is 3. Double 2, which is 4, plus 1 is 5. Double 3 is 6, plus 1 is 7. And look, I have 3, 5, 7 in the y, 2, 4, 6. So it's 1 above in the y column. And it looks like it's going to say, draw your prediction on the plane above. So those are the coordinates I could use to plot and then draw my line. Now, 2 says circle the points that the line for the rule multiply x by a half and then add 1 would contain. So I see my x's here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put those down. I'll start with 0. If I multiply by a half, anything times 0 is 0. Add 1. So I'm either multiplying by a half or dividing by 2, and then I'm adding 1 to it. So 0 times a half is 0 plus 1 is 1. My next, I see I have 2 for the x, and that's what I'm going to use. So take half of 2, and that's 1, plus 1 is 2. So there's another coordinate. So I have 0, 1, 2, 2. So that's not going to work because that's a half, not 1. That's not going to work because when I have 2 as my x, I have to have 2 as my y. So that one does. Now let's try 3. Take half of 3, that's 1 1/2, and I can show that by dividing by 2. And I have 1 over 2. And then I gotta add 1 to it, so that actually equals 2 1/2. So my point would be 3, 2 1/2. And that looks like it says 3, half. So it looks like 2, 2 is the only one. And explain how I know. Well, I made a table. And I know that for every, I would say every 2 I go up in the x. So I went up 2 there. I'm going up 1 here. So if I go up 1 here, I'm going up a half here. I would just say I plugged it into the rule and I tried it using the x for each of those coordinates. Now you have to give 2 other points that fall on this line. Again, same thing. Take 4 as your x and plug it into the rule. So I'll do this one. So 4 times a half plus 1. Half of 4 is 2 plus 1, which gives you 3. So there's one point, and then pick another one. And I would try to pick an even number so you can take half of it. So like 6. And then take half of it and add 1 to it. That'll be your other point. So let's take a look at page 2. So here we are on page 2, and it looks like we got to do more of the same. Complete the tables for the given rules. I'll complete these tables, and I'll get them drawn in. I'm going to leave you to compare and contrast, and also do the rule down below for C, because it's just what we did. And then we'll talk quickly about 4, because it's something we've already done. So here's our rule. I'll do this one in red. This is L. Half x, then add 1. So I got to take half of x and then add 1 to it. So half of 0 is 0, and then add 1. So I have 0, 1. Now I have to take half of 1, and that's going to be a half, plus 1 is 1 1/2. So I have 1, 1 1/2. Half of 2 is 1, plus 1 is 2. And then I'll do the same. Half of 3 is 1 1/2, plus 1 is 2 1/2. So it looks like for every 1 I'm going up in the x, I'm going up a half in the y. And then I'll do the same thing down here. Half x, then add 1 1/4. So that's what you'll do to this one. You'll take half of the x value and then add 1 1/4 to it. So I'll do the first one for you. Half of 0 is 0, plus 1 1/4 is 1 1/4. So I have 0 and 1 1/4. So you're going to use that rule. Either times a half plus 1 1/4, or divide by 2. then add 1 1/4. So we're taking half of it. So once you get those lines on there, you can compare and contrast those just like we did in the other one. And that's right here after you get them drawn. And then try to make the pattern for half x, then subtract 1 instead of adding 1 1/4. Or adding 1, because we did that up here. So now you're subtracting 1 to it. And then you'll circle the points that are going to fall on that rule right here. Multiply x by 3/4 and then subtract a half. So we're working with the fraction piece of it. So you'll multiply each of these, 3, 3, 2, and 1. Multiply it by 3/4, then take away 1, and that's going to get you your x's, which are in blue. And it's not going to actually get those. You want to figure out which one actually works based on your x. And then you'll give 2 other points that fall on the line. So a lot of work you got to do here, but it's very similar to the first page that we just did. So you can refer back to that first page. Thanks for watching. Hope this helps, and good luck on the rest of your homework.